Hey everybody, Ben and Aadil here.
Hey.
We're going to take a look today at some of the information that came out of the Night City Wire episode 1, I think it was called, that came out from CD Projekt Red all around Cyberpunk 2077. We're not going to touch on every aspect that they did, but we're going to take a look at the trailer and take a look at the extended gameplay and just chat over it, give our thoughts on what we think. Aadil, you've seen everything so far, haven't you?
Yeah, but I have to confess I watched that episode thing live on Twitch and was sort of in and out because there was a lot of talking about the anime and things that just weren't gripping me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have seen it. I did pay attention to, I think, the bits that we were watching, and I'm still excited. So let's take a look at that trailer first off.
Yes.
I love this town.
Me too.
Endless opportunity. Ready to get your cherry popped?
I mean, I do love the design of the city.
Yeah, looks beautiful. The tone of this is really good as well. Like, just that, you know that it is this grungy, dystopian city full of technology.
Yeah.
And there's lots of stuff going on in it as well. Sort of... It just keeps going. It's just more and more and more and more.
Yeah. Like it seems like there's a lot. Like it's not just fighting in a city. There's a lot of different social groups.
Yep.
Like that basketball scene was really interesting. But it's definitely you definitely have a crew or something. Like this guy is a main character.
I think we've seen from some of the previous sort of trailers and gameplay looks, we've seen some of these characters before.
Yeah.
This big metal guy's new, I think.
Yeah,
Looks...
I mean, that just shows how much can be replaced in this world, which is always an interesting thing in Cyberpunk situations.
Yeah.
Settings.
Sounds simple enough.
And then you just see abject violence.
Yeah. I love it how they intro it as well. She says, let's try and do this as quietly as possible. Just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, of course. Blah.
I would imagine that from what they've said about the game, there's lots of different ways to be able to do stuff, isn't there? Through kind of upgrading your hacking abilities, upgrading your kind of melee attacks, upgrading your shooting and things. So there's going to be lots of different ways to be able to go through what we've just been shown, I guess.
Yeah.
You, who are you?
Having a shotgun arm.
Fuck.
So that's an interesting... But to kind of jump on that last bit with Keanu, Johnny Silverhands, I think he's called. How your hands almost mirror his. So how he's holding his hands.
He seems surprised at what you look like.
So I know from the trailer we'd seen previously where he appeared, he kind of knelt down next to you, and just said like get up, didn't he, or something around that. Didn't look at that point like he was mimicking kind of your actions, but whether this is a little bit more that he is somehow, or his code or something like that has found its way inside of you in an upgrade or some kind of implant, and actually you have even more power or something based upon his character or something like that. It'd be an interesting
or like
dynamic.
Maybe his like hand mods are really unique, and he sees like it could be just. Like, you got the same hand mods, and he thought that he paid a lot of money for them, and they're unique. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But it does seem like something about the sight of your character throws him for a loop, right?
Yeah. And it's almost like it was quite almost a mirroring of kind of at least those hand motions.
Yeah.
So whether he suddenly sort of there's some way that you're linked in that sort of sense, or at least how the characters feel physically, and how he sort of maybe inhabits you rather than kind of appearing to you, perhaps. So there's loads of ways that they could take it. You know, technology at this sort of juncture, in this sort of setting, isn't endless, but there's so many possibilities in the way that they can take that. And it kind of plays out across the whole trailer, really. All of the different tech you see, all of the different characters that you see. Like, as a tonal piece, it really works very well.
especially being like showing a variety of characters with a variety of different mods, even though it was it's a very wham bam type trailer. Like it's just hit after hit. There's like a couple spots where there's talking, like you said, the bit of speech about doing it quietly with no killing or whatever, but that's just to set up the montage of insanity afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but yeah, like you're seeing that guy, which looked like he had a gun in a stump arm or something. Like it wasn't clear what that, like whether it's like, oh, it drops down or like it's a backup or whatever. But it's like it's very clear that it's not just sort of cosmetic and like you punch better now.
Yes, yeah. It's kind of as well. How have we moved on from these other sort of dystopian worlds? Obviously, with Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out recently, Barrett has a gun arm, and it'll be interesting to see how Cyberpunk kind of almost relates to that kind of dystopian, futuristic sort of city where augments and things are available, but are maybe not quite as widespread through the populace.
Yeah, I mean, but Midgar from Final Fantasy VII, OG and remake, right? I mean, that is a cyberpunk-ish, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got these weird flying car things. You've got old school church and old school imagery and brick, and except for the fact that it's not steam, right? It's not steampunk. It's cyberpunk, yeah. But like you have all this stuff. Like there are these weird machines, and people seem to have augments, or at least like the not just soldier, but like the soldiers who aren't in soldiers, like the guards or whatever. Mm-hmm. They tend to have weird costumes and like interesting things that invoke like tech behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah,
but yeah, this seems like. I mean, I really want to know how big that city is, given what we know about like what Witcher 3 was, right?
Yeah,
just in size of map and like interactive environment.
In a little bit of the chat afterwards with the between Holly who hosted this and the developer from CD Projekt, they were talking about how it's a city made up of several districts, but then you have sort of like the Badlands surrounding it as well. And we got a little glimpse of that through the trailer when they're driving.
Most of the vehicle stuff was
all the vehicle stuff in the desert and stuff. So it'd be cool to see how that then interacts. Obviously, this I think that they suggest that this trailer is only taken from the first couple of hours of the game, isn't it? It's part of the prologue of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the stuff that the sort of pre-release press have seen. Yeah, from what I understand, which is madness. Like that's so packed. Although to be fair, except for like it could easily just be mission 1. Is all that stuff in the city, and then you have to hide in the Badlands, and it's actually a really simple couple hours. But it does seem like a lot happens. But I guess the cynic in me is like, well, so many games start with huge set piece, and then sometimes don't deliver consistently after that.
Yeah.
But again, I trust CD Projekt Red in this arena, we'll say.
Yeah. Sure. Cool.
You excited to see some of that unique gameplay?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I don't know what's coming up next. I'd seen this trailer. I did catch up the next day after Night City Wire came out. So I saw the trailer, but wasn't able to sort of see any more apart from the developer chatting afterwards about it. And similarly, when the anime stuff started coming up, I thought, I'll pause it here, I'll come back to it, but just never did.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I mean, I like anime. I'm an anime fan, and this seems like a cool world, but I don't know. For some reason, it's just like,
sure.
I feel like I don't know how you avoid this not feeling like the B team story writers when it's like a new same city, but everything else is different. Sort of modern multimedia blitz type move versus like I don't know, just
it's not a continuation of the main character's story. It's not a sequel or a prequel or anything like that. It is just more tales from the environment, isn't it?
Yeah,
from
I
the
mean, it's
city.
like playing the One Piece game, right? You watch One Piece, you don't play the One Piece game unless
Yeah.
you're a super fan. And I think it's a nice inversion on the usual flow of things, right?
Mhm.
Between TV and movies. Usually you get bad adaptations in games
Yeah.
of big blockbuster films. And so maybe hopefully this is not a bad adaptation, but I guess we have to credit it with it's big enough that we're getting a game pushing a show, even if it's an anime that says that.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, I think
gaming's presence is being felt in other mediums.
Yeah.
Finally, given how much is spent on gaming year on year, but it still is still treated as the baby little brother.
It is, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think they said a date of 2022 as well, didn't they? So they've got at least 18 months, however long they've also been working on it previously to put something together. So it sounds like they at least kind of take their time with things. And hopefully, as you say, hopefully the story is something that they really focus on. And it isn't secondary to just the idea of having an action-packed anime. And sort of trying to ape the game, where I think there's a massive difference between passive and physical or entertainment. You actually doing lots of these action scenes and being able to pick dialogue and stuff like that, then going into a passive form is difficult to do. So it'd be really interesting. Hopefully they take their time and we just see something pretty simple, I guess, from it.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it ends up being as big as they hope, if they conveniently don't plan like a standalone style DLC to match the anime if it's coming out in 2022.
Yeah. We shall see. Should we dive into this next trailer?
Yeah, let's do it.
So you said it was called Braindance.
Yeah. So if you look at the top, you'll notice that it says Braindance Editor, and there's like a timeline, a secret.
Oh. So is this something like almost like a not quite a detective mode type thing? This is something you can kind of scrub back and forward through, or are you actually playing it?
I mean, this is apparently a big part of the game is interacting with this type of thing.
Okay.
So you notice that your name is Thug in this.
So you're experiencing someone else's memory experience and
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Oh. Oh. He didn't like that.
Oh, he's got an Oculus 7. Yeah, so
okay. So
that was too much.
So
there's
he's been experiencing someone's memory.
Crisp tattoos.
Yes. Maybe they're fake arms and they've been drawn on rather than tattooed.
The skin on her
like...
shoulder, like under that light, shows the lighting is really good, but it shows also the skin is not so great.
Yeah. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah, so we talked over it, but like, apparently he took some sort of drug, and that's why everything was kind of rainbowy, because that was his senses.
Right. Now he's going to jump back into it then.
Yeah.
Oh, and play it again. Okay. Oh.
So now so you can decouple yourself from the POV.
So it is kind of like a detective mode, almost like
it's like a recording, brain recording detective mode.
Look around and see if there's any, obviously in his view, in that character's view, he saw 3 people, but maybe there's someone else in the back that you can kind of find out, or you get more information on finding out sort of street signage to find out where this happened, and it's something you've got to go and follow up on. Yeah, that's very cool.
And and so this is what they've been sort of hinting at when they say it's not just generic cyberpunk mods in like the physical sense, right? So if someone has one of these things implanted, then you can access it.
Yeah.
If you can access it, you get this log of their life, right? And kind of more than they know.
Yes. It'd be interesting to see how much, whether this is just something you can just do, or if it leads in through the story and side quests. Whether it is set characters that you do this to. So is this
Yeah,
part
so
of
this
a
is
is
kinda
this
cool,
part of a
right?
quest?
So because the machine is recording it, it notices things the guy doesn't.
Mm.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash.
So that could be a very cool way of scouting ahead a location as well. Being able to hack into someone and being able to do this and see their memory of a place, and then suddenly realizing that there's, finding where the cameras are, finding who is armed, what augments they have, and being able to then tailor your play around going into a certain place.
Exactly, yeah.
It's kind of just that next, or it's that cyberpunk evolution of, like Batman's kind of detective mode.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like a personal version of that Batman Begins tech. Right, where all the pinging of the cell phones gives you a magic map of the world or whatever. Instead, it's like this particular piece of gear on this person gives you a map. But like, so it picked up this conversation around the corner.
Yeah.
But which the guy might not have heard.
So, any thoughts?
Unbelievable. Seriously. Like what's happening right next to me.
First time I watched this, I was kind of like, I don't know if I really want to see all this like sound wavy sort of. I get that it's like flow of information and not permanent, but I'm hoping, as you can see, like it seems to look different depending on what you scan and whatever. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can analyze extra layers in the
Yeah, but like this stuff, this like all semi-pixel, like 3D square pixel voxely thing might take some getting used to.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a little jarring, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one of those that how long can you spend in this, looking through different details and listening for different sounds and understanding the situation a little bit more. I like this, finding out kind of who people are and stuff. Like, it's super interesting, but is this going to be something that you have to do as well?
I believe so. From what I've heard from or read, people have been saying this is a major part of the game.
See that? They shot him and he never saw it coming.
Oh, he died or shot.
So that's why the video cut out and you woke up?
Right,
Because you just watched the whole thing all the way through. It's because he got shot. So the feed stopped.
Surveillance cam.
But this is cool. This is what you were talking about.
You'll see in a sec. Cam feeds to the screen behind the clerk.
So this is the madness that is like way more magic than sci-fi.
Yeah.
Then scan it.
Because like... So because of the memory, you saw the screen, you can now connect to it and see the guy waiting.
Chumba shot him. Probably planned to all along.
Somehow you can hack through the memory into the camera.
Yeah.
And you find out that his buddy gave him a gun, told him to hold the place up, shot him, and presumably took the money.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you've seen enough, you can exit.
That's super interesting. I like this.
Yeah, I'm happy that that the reports seem to be that it's a pretty strong part of it because it's really cool and it gives a very interesting layer to this to the game. Like it seems like, because up until now, I think one of the reasons why I've been mostly excited for the world but not a lot else is because the story kind of seems like generic crime gang heist sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know what, there's plenty of games like that and it's a cool setting, that might be enough, right?
Yeah.
But to have sort of like, oh, but actually how you get to do these things better is some sort of research, or you're there's some intrigue, right? That's not just, you know, bad guy killed my brother and I'm off for revenge or whatever. Because it kind of gives that, especially in the trailer, it kind of gives off that vibe, right? Of just sort of like, yeah, we're a gang.
Yep.
And we're going to do things our way.
And it also, with the trailer, it's just action-packed first-person shooter with some clever tech or some upgrades and augments, different ways that you can kind of approach things. It's good to have this other level in there, almost for a little bit of downtime from everything else. So it's not just constant barrage of first-person shooting. You know, this isn't a Call of Duty game. It is, you know, it is a kind of a mashup, really, I suppose, of a first-person shooter and an RPG. You know, The Witcher 3 was very much in that action-adventure sort of space. And this seems to have, or at least taking a different perspective and putting it in that first-person shooter, whilst those RPG elements are in there, still feels very much like a first-person shooter, at least from what I've seen so far. So having this extra layer, this kind of almost odd detective mode or scout mode or whatever this is going to do and how it's going to be throughout the entire game, it's really interesting. It's a really good layer to just break up the pacing of everything else going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it makes me super enthused. Like I said, like it's and the fact that it's a dynamic version of Batman Detective Mode, right? Detective Mode is pretty, in most games, has been like push button, do pulse, click, seek out shiny thing and pulse, shown by pulse. And this is like, you kind of had to hunt for the computer. It didn't seem super obvious. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely kind of like, might be like one of my complaints about some levels in Portal 2 where it's like find the portable spot. It might be find the piece of tech you need to click type puzzles, but hopefully not, right? That'll depend on puzzle design, but it's still like way more dynamic and a really cool evolution of the idea of sort of LA Noir and Batman Detective Mode sort of solving the crime or at least figuring out what really happened. To figure out what you need to do next.
And hopefully, as you say, it does feel like this is kind of a puzzle layer to the game as well. Obviously, we love our puzzles. We love our puzzle games.
Yep.
But it would be nice if there are multiple ways to be able to get to that end state and to achieve and get the same knowledge that you require to kind of solve what's going on or be able to move on with it. You know, if they couldn't have seen that computer terminal to be able to then know that someone was behind them and use that feed to see that there is another way to be able to do that. That maybe it was a camera that you saw, but maybe actually the clerk had a mirror up in the corner or something to be able to see people at the back of the store, and you caught a glimpse of someone in that instead. You know, that there's multiple ways to be able to actually to solve these things, rather than it being just here's a puzzle, solve it in the same. Everyone's going to do this in exactly the same way, because that very much pulls away from the whole idea of why do we bother having dialogue trees? Why do we bother having different ways of being able to get through a level? Why have we got different builds? You know, if they want people to be able to tailor this game to how they want to play and all have different experiences, that does need to come across in all aspects of it.
Totally, yeah.
Nice. Have you got any final thoughts on what we've seen? I imagine we'll see some more at some point. This was Night City Wire episode 1, wasn't it? So more stuff will come out over the following sort of months, up until November now for the release.
Yeah, it does seem like that's the key. There is that they're, and like they stated, it's done.
Yes,
but it's not fully QA bug tested, and it's like I super admire. I think they realized that they got like COVID has lowered expectations, etc. So they could really just do what they needed to do. We're like, actually, look, let's take this time.
Yeah.
It's not like we don't need to dominate the summer. We already missed our sort of February launch. Let's just take the extra time, keep the hype train going by like having these media things every once in a while, having the media actually play the game and say, fuck, I love this.
Yeah.
And then have it real polished in November and be like a full AAA release without this insane 80 gig day one patch. That would just be amazing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how media have received their copies as well, because obviously the game hasn't gone gold yet. I would imagine it's going to follow suit with Final Fantasy VII Remake and The Last of Us Part 2 and Red Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption 2 as well, being on 2 discs. You know, you got that data disc to be able to put everything on your machine first. So it'd be good if you buy a disc. Yes, if you buy a disc, yeah. So it'd be good that it would just be one download without having to then worry about, you know, a patch 5 days later, 2 days later, day one type thing. Obviously, things are always going to evolve and change, and we will get small updates and tweaks and things. But having to wait for an 80 gig patch like 2 days after you've got the game would just be frustrating. So, as you say, it's good to see that they're going to take this time to test everything, bug fix, to ensure that it's a smooth game. and that translates over into release as well.
Yeah, and hopefully that means because they've taken the extra couple months, that means that this doesn't have to be crunch.
Yes, hopefully. I can't remember when they pushed back to. Is it September?
November.
The first push back, I think, was September.
Yeah.
Before they pushed to November, I think it was September. So they got a couple of months additionally, and it may mean that they just had to squeeze into a different window for disc pressing and stuff. And so November is kind of more determined by when they could get in to have all of their discs pressed. To then determine how long they then had, and hopefully what they've done is said, well, actually, it's our disc pressing is an additional 6 weeks away, but actually we only need 3 weeks to be able to get all of this out, so it doesn't come down to crunch. It is them just being able to very robustly go through everything. And I think
so it was April 16th was the original one, then September 17th, and then November 19th.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it from what we've seen so far. And even in Night City Wire, just the level of production from this as well. It's just so much more than any other developer that we've sort of seen, really.
And the thing is, this is basically just like Streamlabs overlays, right? So they paid a graphics designer to make a couple overlays. Like, it's really just a template with frames around the views, the camera, the webcam pictures, right? And obviously nicer cameras, but like that's all it takes. Like I can't remember the name of the lady who's presenting.
Holly Bennett.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, her camera is clearly just her like Twitch camera or whatever. Like the camera
absolutely
every day, right? It's got a decent depth of field. And that's it. The other two have what looks like maybe a more professional camera that's got a wider angle, etc. But like the whole thing is just looks polished because they like paid someone to do production transitions and overlays, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but it shows the level of respect that they're giving to their audience. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Perfect. Good. Well, it's a nice place to finish. Obviously, we're going to look forward to Night City Wire Episode 2 when it comes out. We'll see a little bit more of the game, I expect. I don't really want to see a huge amount more. I'd like to just get a bit more detail, I think. Not too much more on sort of the game itself, because we want to be able to experience that firsthand for ourselves. But ideas around, and I know Holly does mention at some point that they're not announcing yet, but will do, how those upgrades from PS4 and Xbox One will work to the next generation, and what they'll kind of do around that. So it's just interesting to see kind of their lead up to this, what other information they have, without giving us too much, I think.
Yeah, I believe they said it would be free.
Yeah, yes they did, yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
that's right.
So I just wanted to be clear for the audience that, like, which is one of the things I'm hoping to see a lot more of, right? Is that, and I mean, presumably, I think it's very shrewd because presumably once you buy it, the free upgrade will be just the digital one, right?
I would think so. Yep.
Which I think more and more, I mean, just the costs are way better for you than pressing discs.
Yeah.
So I think from the dev's perspective, do that, right?
Yeah. Good. Well, that's us for this week. Another trailer look through, our thoughts on. You can come to outoflives.net or stay on our YouTube channel and look at loads of other stuff. Aadil and I have gone through previous trailers before, ones that are still to come out, AC Valhalla and Ghost of Tsushima, which is in a few weeks' time.
Which I can't wait for.
So that again, which you can't wait for.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, me neither. I've still got to finish The Last of Us Part 2 though. I'm still just not.
Finishing games. Who does that? I played 7 hours of Final Fantasy VII. Right? So that means I need to play 2 hours of Last of Us 2.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, that's exactly right.
All of the hours because there's no number in Tsushima.
Completely. Stick around on our YouTube channel. Come to outoflives.net. There's loads of stuff being written. Adam's been sticking up some shipbreakers up onto the site as well. Some good videos from Adam going up there. You can listen to our podcast Tanked Up as well, where me and Aadil get a little bit tipsy with Lucy, talk about some games, drink some beers. There's loads of stuff you can do with us here at Out of Lives. But we'll be back next week with maybe another trailer, maybe a talk on something else. Who knows? We'll see. But we'll catch you soon.
Bye.